When we think of these great ancient empires, we usually picture armies and conquests and powerful rulers. But what really sticks around long after all that is gone, it's the buildings. They tell this incredible, quiet story about a culture's power, what they believed in, and how they lived together. And honestly, few stories are as epic as the one the Ottomans wrote in stone. So, think about it. If an empire could actually speak, what would it say? Well, for more than 600 years, the Ottoman Empire gave its answer. Not with words, but with these absolutely massive soaring domes, these elegant minarets, and with interiors just flooded with incredible light. Okay, let's get into it. Let's try and understand this language they created.
And look, a style this grand didn't just pop up overnight. We're talking about a story that stretches across 3 different continents and over 6 centuries. It's a real tale of ambition, deep faith, and some truly mind-blowing innovation.
So, where did this all come from? What's so fascinating is that Ottoman architecture wasn't built in a vacuum. It was this brilliant mix, kind of like the ultimate fusion recipe. They saw the giant domes of the Byzantines, they borrowed the beautiful, intricate details from the Seljuks and Persians, they used the raw engineering genius of the Romans, and they blended all of it with their own local traditions. They were just masters at taking the best of everything they saw.
And all of this leads us to what is, without a doubt, the most important moment in their entire architectural story. It's the moment they came face to face with a single building that would completely define their ambitions for the next 400 years. All right, so picture this. The year is 1453. After centuries of growth, the Ottomans finally capture their ultimate prize, the legendary city of Constantinople. And standing right there in the heart of their brand new capital is the magnificent Hagia Sophia. This one building, well, it was about to change everything. And for them, it wasn't just a famous church to be turned into a mosque. No way. For the Ottoman architects, and even the sultans themselves, it was like a silent challenge. It was the gold standard, this incredible masterpiece of engineering and light that was basically daring them to do better. So, what did they do? They studied it, like they obsessed over it. They looked at its huge central dome and said, okay, we're going to build one even bigger. They saw its massive open interior and thought, we can make a space with even more harmony. And they saw the way light filled the building and decided they would perfect it for an even greater sense of spiritual awe. The gauntlet had officially been thrown down. So in response to this huge challenge, they did something brilliant. They didn't just copy, they innovated. They actually developed their own unique set of rules, a kind of architectural code that would define their unique style for centuries. First thing on the list, and maybe the most important, the dome. To the Ottomans, the dome was everything. It wasn't just a roof, It was a symbol of heaven itself, a representation of the entire universe and the oneness of God. The whole point was to create this vast, uninterrupted indoor space that made you feel completely humbled. Next up, the minaret. Ottoman minarets are just iconic. They're famous for being these super slender, almost pencil-shaped towers that just shoot for the sky. Now, of course, they had a practical job, the call to prayer, but they were also a billboard for the empire. They were unmistakable symbols of imperial power and presence. The more minarets a mosque had, the more important it was. And this leads to a really core idea in their philosophy. Their grand mosques were never, ever just standalone buildings. They were the heart of a whole complex called a kuliye. This would include things like schools, hospitals, libraries, even public kitchens for the poor. You see, for them, architecture wasn't separate from the community. It was the community. Okay, so you have this epic challenge, you've got this new architectural code, but you need a true genius to bring it all to life. And boy, did the Ottomans have one. His name was Mimar Sinan, and he is, without a doubt, one of the greatest architects in all of human history. His philosophy was so simple but so powerful. He just believed that every building had to be 3 things: strong, useful, and beautiful. And he didn't just talk the talk. The man designed over 300 structures in his lifetime, everything from tiny mosques to massive bridges, and every single one was a masterpiece of that ideal. So, late in his life, Sinan decided it was time. He was going to build his ultimate masterpiece, the Selimiya Mosque. He actually called his earlier work his journeyman phase. This new mosque, this was going to be his magnum opus. This was going to be his final answer to the challenge of Hagia Sophia. And here is the payoff. Just look at this. For centuries, the dome of Hagia Sophia held the record. And with the Selimiye Mosque, Mimar Sinan finally beat it. Now look, it was a victory measured in just a few centimeters, but that didn't matter. It was this huge symbolic victory, the culmination of a nearly 400-year-old ambition. Challenge met. But this architectural language, this code, it wasn't just reserved for places of worship, not at all. It shaped pretty much every aspect of Ottoman life, from the Sultan's palace all the way down to the local public bath. Take their palaces. You might be picturing a single, massive building like in Europe, but the Topkapi Palace was totally different. It was more like a small city within a city, a whole series of courtyards and pavilions that reflected Ottoman ideas about order, privacy, and hierarchy. I mean, even something as purely practical as a bridge became a work of art for them. Ottoman bridges are famous for being incredibly elegant and unbelievably strong. They were literally connecting the empire, symbols of unity and trade. And the wild part? Many of them are still standing and in use today. And you can't forget the public baths, or hammams. These were absolutely essential. With their own beautiful domed ceilings and marble interiors, they were the real social hubs of the city. Places for hygiene, sure, but also for business, relaxation, and just community gathering. So why does any of this history matter to us right now? Well, because this isn't just a story that's stuck in a textbook. It's a living, breathing legacy that actually continues to shape the world around us. You can still hear the echo of Ottoman architecture all over the place. I mean, new mosques built today often follow those same classic layouts. The historic hearts of cities from Sarajevo to Cairo are still defined by these structures. Architects today are still studying Mimar Sinan's work, trying to figure out his secrets to strength and harmony. And designers everywhere are still inspired by the beauty of things like Iznik tiles. When you really boil it all down, the story they told in stone wasn't just about showing off their power. It was about creating a sense of harmony, this perfect, beautiful balance between people, their faith, and the spaces that they all share. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? If the Ottoman buildings tell this incredible story of community and faith and harmony, it really makes you stop and wonder, what stories are our modern buildings telling about us? Something to think about the next time you look up.